Hi, I'm Ken Oakes with Oakes Daylilies. If you've watched any of our videos about taking care of your daylilies, you may have noticed that I talk often about watering your daylilies well and how important it is for best performance to make sure your daylilies get plenty of water. So in this video, I'm going to talk about all things water, what I mean when I say water well, different options that you can have for how to water your daylilies, and what you might notice if you don't water your daylilies. So stay tuned to hear everything you want to know about watering daylilies and then some. So when you're thinking about watering your daylilies, there are a few situations when it's going to be more important to water than other times. Now the first one would be if you're planting new daylilies. You're going to want to water your daylilies well, at least for a few weeks after you plant them, just to try and get them established and off to a good start. The second would be if you have daylilies in containers. Now containers dry out a lot faster than the ground does. So in the heat of the summer, you're going to want to water those potentially every day, and definitely keep an eye on those because like I say, they'll dry out a lot quicker. And then the third would be, when it's hot in your area, obviously it's more important to water. Here in Tennessee, a lot of times we get nice rains through the spring. I don't have to water a whole lot, but then once summer hits, June this year, it just kind of cut off. So we've been watering a lot, just to, keep them well watered. So those are times you want to especially consider watering. All right, so what do I mean when I say water well? A general rule of thumb is to try and make sure your daylilies get an inch of water or more a week. So one thing you can do if you're overhead irrigating in your garden, you're not sure what an inch of water looks like, is you can just get a little rain gauge and put it out in your garden. Irrigate and see what's in it. If you got an inch, boom, there you go, you're set. But if you're irrigating like with a hose, just a sprinkler, a lot of times that's going to be 2 or 3 good soakings a week. It's going to end up being an inch, something like that. So water well is kind of an inch or more a week is what I'm looking for. So different ways you might irrigate your daylilies. Here in our display gardens, we have sprinkler risers. So we irrigate overhead. We have a spring-fed pond, so we have access to water to do that with. And that's fine. Overhead water is great for daylilies. The one thing you'll want to pay attention to is if you do it, first thing in the morning or when the daylilies are starting to open up, that water's going to hit and it's going to probably spot your blooms for the day. You'll probably notice that you did this. So you may want to do it either really early in the morning or late in the evenings or overnight even. That's overhead irrigating. Okay, a second way that probably a lot of you will do this is just use your hose and a wand. And I mentioned this earlier, but 2 or 3 good soakings a week, and if you're doing it with a hose and a wand, you can just like go around the foliage at the base and you won't have to worry about getting water on the blooms. A third option would be a soaker hose. That's going to be the most efficient way to apply water. It's going to be a good option for those of you who live in areas with water restrictions. Maybe a little harder to tell exactly how much water you're putting out. You just want to make sure the soil's moist around your daylilies, so kind of like, you really can't overwater, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but, you're probably going to leave several hours of soaker hose. I'm not sure, it just depends on how quickly it's soaking, but, that's a good option as well. So I mentioned, can you have too much water on your daylilies? Here's a picture we took this spring at our growing fields after a really, really heavy few days of rain. This would be too much water on your daylilies if it was here long term. Now, this soaked away after just a couple days, so it wasn't a problem. So if you get this kind of thing in your gardens or whatever, where you have standing water for a few days, typically not an issue. We get this at the growing fields, quite often through the spring. So what happens if your daylilies don't get enough water? Well, we had a comment from a customer just recently saying, hey, I see you mention water well a lot in your videos, and I really don't water my daylilies at all, and they look great. Well, that's a good thing about daylilies. If they're established, they're probably going to do okay, even if you don't water them well, as long as you get some water. We've had years here at the nursery where it'll be a drought year, and they just kind of sit there. They don't die. Daylilies are pretty drought hardy and tolerant. They'll just kind of sit there. But what's going to happen is they may not have as many blooms. The blooms probably won't be as big. They won't look as good all around. So water is going to be the thing you can do for the most blooms, the blooms to look the best, and then also, rebloom is kind of a hot topic with daylilies. Some daylilies will bloom and then bloom again, and water is going to be a key thing in order to get them to do that, if that's something that they will do. So just a quick word about rebloom. That's something that some varieties do and others don't, and we list that with every variety on our website. And then some of them that do rebloom do it more than others, so you can check out our 20 best rebloomers, for instance, on the website. you know, and it's a great trade if you can get it, but there's a lot of colors and shapes and sizes that you just can't get in a good rebloomer. So I suggest you just pick what you like. If it's a rebloomer, that's great. And we just shot a video about Rebloom. If you want to check that out, the link's below. All right, so, you know, just to recap, you know, daylilies are tough plants. You know, they're easy to grow, hardy perennials, you know, and so they're going to tolerate, you know, dry conditions, but they're going to look their best if you can give them plenty of water. And typically what a rule of thumb would be is, you know, 1 inch or more a week. You know, we talked about, you know, overhead or a soaker hose or just a hose and a wand. You know, all those are good ways to, you know, to water your daylilies. You know, you want to pay special attention to newly planted daylilies and daylilies in containers. So if you have any questions or comments on any of this, you know, you can certainly put it below. You know, we got lots of videos about daylilies. You can certainly check this one out. And then we'd love to hear from you if you have any, like I say, questions or comments. Thanks for watching.